All right, today we're cracking open a 400-year-old masterpiece. But listen, forget everything you remember from high school English class. We're not looking at Shakespeare's Macbeth as some dusty old play. We're looking at it for what it really is, a fast-paced, psychological, political thriller that was written for a very specific and very powerful audience member.
So let me ask you this. What if a major Hollywood studio right now released a blockbuster movie that had a hidden message, a direct warning to anyone even thinking about committing an act of terror? Well, that's pretty much the high-stakes world Macbeth was born into. This wasn't just art for art's sake, this was state-sponsored propaganda.
To really get this play, you have to get the time period. England in 1605 was a paranoid place. Seriously, the country had a brand new king from Scotland, and a lot of people were not happy about it. There were whispers of treason, plots, rebellion. The whole nation was basically on a knife's edge.
And all that paranoia? It absolutely exploded into a full-blown national crisis, which, it turns out, gave Shakespeare the perfect, and I mean perfect, timely subject for his next big hit. He wasn't just writing another play. He was writing a play specifically for the king.
Just look at this timeline. It's incredibly tight. We're talking mere months after the infamous gunpowder plot, the failed attempt to blow up Parliament and kill King James I. Shakespeare puts on Macbeth, a play about a Scottish king who gets murdered by a treacherous nobleman. You think that's a coincidence? No way. This was a direct response to the biggest political threat of the day.
So Shakespeare gets to work, and he makes all these strategic changes to his source material, basically to flatter and reassure King James. For example, King James believed he was descended from this real historical figure, Banquo. The problem, in the original story, Banquo was an accomplice to murder. Obviously, Shakespeare couldn't have that, so boom, he rewrites Banquo as a noble hero. He also throws in some terrifying witches because James was totally obsessed with witchcraft. And he makes Banquo's son, Fleance, escape at the end, a clear parallel to King James himself surviving the gunpowder plot. You see, every little choice was a calculated political move.
Okay, so politics aside, Macbeth is just a masterclass in dramatic structure. I mean, it is built like a perfect, terrifying machine designed to create this sense of steamrolling inevitability. It just pulls the hero and all of us watching toward this guaranteed tragic end. And right at the center of that machine, you have the tragic hero. See, Macbeth starts out as this celebrated, heroic general, a guy with incredible potential for greatness. But he's got one fatal flaw. One driving obsession, ambition. And when the witches come along and ignite that flaw with their prophecies, well, that's when his downfall begins. This classic 5-act structure shows us that downfall perfectly. In Act 1, the seed is planted. Then in the rising action, he acts on it. He commits regicide, the ultimate crime of killing a king. But the really crucial moment, the absolute point of no return, is the climax in Act 3, the banquet scene. From this moment on, Macbeth isn't in control anymore. His actions are in control of him, and it's all just a downward spiral from there.
And this is that moment. He's at his own celebratory banquet, trying to act like a king, and he sees the ghost of the man he just had murdered. He completely unravels, right there in front of his entire court. His private guilt just explodes into public political chaos. It shatters his authority, and really, it seals his fate.
So, that public breakdown really brings us to the play's central argument, its moral core. What is the difference between a true king and a violent tyrant?
And here it is, laid out plain and simple. A true king, like Duncan, gets his authority from God and the natural moral order. He embodies what the play calls king-becoming graces, things like justice, mercy, truth. He brings stability. But a tyrant like Macbeth, his power comes from pure violence and fear. He brings nothing but chaos, not just to the kingdom, but to the natural world itself. The play is full of storms and strange supernatural events to show this.
Now, what's so brilliant is that Shakespeare doesn't just tell us about this chaos. He makes us hear it. He uses the very sound and rhythm of the language as a kind of secret code to signal the difference between the natural order and the evil that's trying to tear it apart.
Just listen to this famous line from the witches. Feel that rhythm? Double, double, toil and trouble. Fire burn and cauldron bubble. It sounds like this strange, unsettling chant, right? Dum-da, 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 dum-da. That is completely intentional.
So here's the difference. The nobles, the good guys, they speak in this calm, natural rhythm called iambic pentameter. It goes da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. It actually sounds a lot like a human heartbeat. The witches, though,
They use the exact opposite, a jarring, unnatural rhythm called trochaic tetrameter. Dum-da, dum-da. This isn't just Shakespeare being fancy with poetry. It's an audible cue to the audience that these characters are outside the natural order. They literally sound wrong.
Now, this deep connection to the demonic and the unnatural might be why, for centuries, actors have believed this play is genuinely cursed. I mean, so much so that inside a theater, it is considered horrible luck to even say its name out loud. You have to call it the Scottish play.
And, this legend is fueled by a genuinely disturbing history of bad luck. It supposedly started on opening night in 1606. Over the centuries, there have been fatal accidents with real daggers, theaters burning down, and even a full-on riot in New York City between fans of two rival actors playing Macbeth that left more than 20 people dead. It's wild.
So where did this whole superstition come from? Well, the most popular story, the one everyone loves to tell, is that Shakespeare, trying to make the play extra spooky for King James, actually put real witches' spells into the script. The legend goes that this infuriated a local coven, who then put a curse on the play for all time.
And really, this brings us right back to the heart of the play. Is the curse of the Scottish play just a silly theatrical superstition? Or is the very idea of the curse a perfect, real-world reflection of the play's central warning? That when you commit unnatural acts, when you try to seize power that isn't yours, you unleash dark, chaotic forces that you can never, ever control.